Hello, holy shiftballers. It is Thursday, and we've had a few technical glitches, but we're ready to go now, and we have a great show for you. But first, before we get to this show, Bethany, how are you, and what was your holy shiftball moment this week?
Wow, Sharon. So I have had multiple holy shift falls moments this week, but to kick it off, I am traveling once again and I am in the lovely state of Florida. So my holy shift fall was really getting in contact with Mother Earth, with going out, putting my feet in the sand with the ocean and feeling the calmness of the waves that brought me back not only to myself, but to peace and presence. So that was my magical holy shift ball moment, that being around the ocean. How about you? What was your holy shift ball moment this
That
week?
sounds amazing, and I'm a little bit jealous, not gonna lie. It can be so relaxing and soothing and yet rejuvenating at the same time. It's beautiful. The ocean is such a magnificent part of our beautiful planet.
It really
Um,
is. It really is. I'm curious. What it was your holy shift ball moment?
You know what? My holy ship ball moment this week was when I was driving 6 hours to see my family last weekend for Thanksgiving. Very intermittent, spotty internet signal, and like no radio, no nothing, right? So that's for about little, not quite half the trip. And what got me to thinking is it's so interesting that when you're first learning to tune into your intuition and listen to your inner guidance, your inner GPS, um, it's spotty and you're like, oh, do I trust that? What does that mean? And you're trying to figure it out. So you just get, a little bit of this, a little bit of here and there, just like a spotty radio signal. Every once in a while you get a little blip. And yeah, so I likened it to first learning how to tune into your intuition. And that was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool
Yeah.
realization that, yeah, yeah, you can
Isn't
develop
it?
that
Isn't
and turn it into a whole song. Yes.
Isn't it interesting? Every week the universe gives us a little bit of chaos and,
Yep.
and a lot of
Yep.
comedy. And speaking of that, Sharon,
Exactly. Um, yeah. And so this week's guest knows exactly what that's like. Lindsay Grace, for her, it was like when the universe skips the whisper and goes straight to the cosmic 2x4, smack right upside the head. Am I right?
yes, yes, Sharon. Please welcome Lindsay Grace. She is an intuitive business and soul purpose mentor who helps women unlock their divine design and create soul aligned success from the inside out. She started with a painful WTF, what's the became a full on rebirth, and now she blends the Akashic Records, divine soul, blueprint work, and her soul aligned method to help women manifest abundance with ease. Let's welcome on Lindsay Grace. Hey, Lindsay, how are you
Hey,
today?
Lindsay.
Hi, I'm excellent. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Yes,
Thank you
we are
so
so
much
glad
for,
you're here.
yeah, we're really happy to have you. Thank you so much for joining us and for your patience with our technical difficulties. Um, so, Lindsay, let's get right into it because we have an abbreviated show today. So, let's get right into it. What was your holy shift ball moment? What cosmic occurrence changed everything for you?
Well, so mine was literally a cosmic 2x4, pretty much. Let's just put it this way, I was kind of in the prime of my entrepreneurship life. I was at a conference centered around business and that whole thing, standing with a group of incredible women when I was literally smacked upside the back of the head with a marble table that some hotel worker was moving. I know, crazy, right? Like
Very crazy.
freak accident that at that moment in time threw my life into a complete upheaval. I struggled to try to keep my business going and my life and all the things. And it really was like my cosmic 2x4. I joke about it, but the truth is that's exactly what happened to me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to put myself into your reality. I mean, are you, just standing there nonchalant, and all of a sudden a marble table flies down off of a balcony and hits you up in the back of the head. I mean, what? How does that even happen?
Like only me, right? I mean, that's honestly like there's like 10 of us and it hits me, nobody else, just me. And I mean, I know now. At the time I was like WTF, but now I know that I was not on the right path. Well, professionally I was in this great place. Personally, my life, let's be real, it was hanging on by a thread, and I was doing everything that I possibly could to keep it alive when it needed to just be let go. But so it's like it needed to happen to me. And sometimes we have those crazy, like, holy shit balls moment of what just happened. But yeah, at the time, oh my gosh, I mean, I could go into the depth of like what that did, but I'm just, honestly, now I am so grateful that it happened, because if it didn't, I wouldn't be living the life that I'm living now. I wouldn't be the person that I am now. Like it sometimes those crazy things need to happen to us.
So, Lindsay, at the time you had an actual traumatic brain injury that that debilitated you for a number of time, an amount of time. And when did the why me turn into the for me?
Well, so I'm going to be honest. It was like a long process. We're not talking a year or so. We're talking 10-ish years. And I knew probably a year or two in that there was a bigger reason for it, but I had no idea what that was. It just kept coming through so strongly that there's a reason this happened to me. And I was okay to just let it figure out when it did. When I surrendered to things, I originally temporarily shut down the business that I had built myself, my name, my life around. And it was an amazing business, but I temporarily shut it down, ultimately never relaunched it. So I'll say probably maybe about 5 years after being hit, I knew I had tried to ignore, but I knew that I was not living the life that I was meant to be living. It just kept getting harder and harder and harder. And the more that I kind of ignored what intuitively kept coming through, even more, like I just kept getting all these messages like the life you want is not here. The life you want is not here. Like, it's not where you are. You need to make change. And so, but as I said, like, it just kept getting harder for me and more difficult. And the more that I clung on, the worse everything got, include like to myself, to my health, to my finances, like to every aspect of me and who I was, just kept getting harder until I was finally like, okay, I get it. And ultimately for me, it was finally saying that I'm done to a marriage that I should have been done with a long, long time before.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's powerful. What was some of the mental mindset that you had to change to really be able to step out of the program in which you were telling yourself to now the mindset that you're telling yourself now? What does that look like?
Well, so I was stuck in this space of poor me, why me, life's horrible, all this lack, and really like focusing on everything that I didn't have instead of starting to try to focus on the positives to it. Like, I started that business when my son, my firstborn, was a tiny little baby. And then I worked like crazy. I was working while I had my daughter in the hospital. Like, that's what And instead, I was able to kind of be there a little bit more for them, especially at an integral part where they kind of maybe, I mean, obviously young babies, they do, but as they started to get older. So I started to say, okay, rather than all this bad is happening, because trust me, as I said, it was like I was to the bottom of the bottom, almost homeless, like all the things that could possibly go wrong. But I started to just find those like I call them the little nuggets, like the little bits of joy within my day, the little things, just the stuff that lit me up. And by doing that, I was then seeing more of the good instead of just all of the bad, because when we focus on the bad, we just get more of the bad.
That's right. Yep. 100%.
That's something that Sharon and I help with our clients, like attracts like. So when you are in the frequency, the vibration, the thought process, the emotional states of fear, worry, anxiety, less than, not enough, you're only attracting more of that lower frequency back to yourself. And so that's amazing that you were able to really gain awareness of your thought process, your mindset, to have a question to change a new outcome.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
So, Lindsay, when you have a client who is experiencing a traumatic moment in their life like you had, and I'm not saying exactly the same circumstance, but they're going through their own traumatic rebirth, how do you guide them to come out on the other side?
So, I mean, I acknowledge and let them acknowledge where they're at, because we don't want to ignore or avoid the reality of the situation that we're in. Because again, like we're here experiencing living in the third dimensional space. So our physical body, so our physical surroundings. And, you don't want to just brush it aside. I was kind of programmed into that as a kid, that we just tuck it away on the shelf and we don't deal with it. And so I don't want people to do that. So understand that what you're dealing with, yes, it's hard, it's horrible, it's all the things, and we sit there. But then I try to remind them that life is always going to happen around us. I often use the phrase, life is going to life us. And so are we going to build a house there though? Or are we going to allow the stuff that's happening to happen? Because again, we're not free of it. I mean, this morning I had all these plans for relaxing, getting myself ready. And instead I was dealing with, let's just say, washer and water and not draining and towels all over and me on the floor, all dirty. Like that happened. And instead of being like, oh, this is a bad thing, I actually laughed about it because I knew it was a good thing. So it gets to the point where that sometimes these harder things that are happening in your life are actually about to expand you to a completely different space. And so it's just giving them the perspective of, yes, where you are, it sucks, and let's be there. It's okay for us to be there for a moment, but as I said, let's not build a house there. Instead, where can we then shift to? And so quite often that's just giving that perspective of looking at, again, maybe it's trying to find those little nuggets of good that are existing in their life and in their day, because sometimes, especially when it seems like your whole day is falling apart, you can kind of miss those things. And so by making people aware to pay attention for the little good nuggets, it helps, because then that will amplify and you'll see more of it.
Yes, that is so true. So true. Thank you so much for sharing that wisdom with us today. That's just taking the time. This is a conversation Sharon and I were having not too long ago. We both feel and sense and see that time feels like it's speeding up. It's like, you sit down and you've got this drawn out plan and you're like, yeah, I'm going to do this, and this. But it feels like when you sit down to do this, time just speeds up and you only get half of it done. And Sharon and I we laugh about that so much. That have you experienced time speeding up in your reality?
So yes and no. I am in this interesting space where time in some cases is whipping by, like that I look at my life and I think my kids are both adults now. How did that happen?
Mhm.
But also in other spaces where it seems to go really slow, and which is an interesting phenomenon to be in, right? Where you've got certain aspects where it's just, you feel like the clock is so slowly ticking by. And then in others where you're like, how did I blink and it's now the middle of October? Wasn't it just the beginning of the year? Like that kind of an idea, right? But I mean, as I know, and I'm sure you guys as well too, time is just an illusion. So,
Mhm.
it's
that's such an interesting concept too, that time is illusion. But I need to step into Sharon, we need to step into her reality where time slows down. Because
Yeah, absolutely. Mhm.
for me, I feel like it's just like there's not enough time in the day.
Well, it's all about mindset too, though, right? Like when I was driving to see my brother on the weekend, it's a 6-hour drive, and it's went so slow because I'm excited about getting there and I want to just get there or whatever. And on the way home, I was thinking about the podcast. I was thinking about like things that I enjoy doing and love doing, and the time went by like that. So I think when we're really in the flow and have a positive mindset, time does speed up. And when we're kind of having a little bit of not that I had a negative mindset when I was driving up to see my brother, it was and sister-in-law, it wasn't a negative mindset, but I was just like, come on, come on. Like it was this energy that wasn't conducive to just, being in flow, and so it seemed to take longer. But yeah, interesting. Interesting how the mindset affects the illusion of time.
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Go ahead,
Lindsay.
Sharon.
All right. It is time for our lightning round of shift or shit.
Okay, Lindsay, we toss out a few scenarios. And you tell us if it's shift, which is a high vibe, expansive energy, or shit, that is a low vibing illusion that needs shifting. You ready?
Okay. First question. Do breakdowns always have to come before breakthroughs, or is there a less dramatic version that we seem to be missing? Shift or shit?
This is a hard one because it's kind of both. So
Okay.
it really is. It's kind of both. Because here's the thing, when we ignore, right? If we're ignoring the nudges like I experienced, then quite often there is a breakdown. But if
What we resist persists.
yeah. And so, but if you're paying attention to the nudges, like we don't all experience the big, huge cosmic 2x4, right? So sometimes if we're paying attention, then it is that less dramatic way. But yeah, some of us though will have that full breakdown, the full chaotic thing that knocks you.
But if you
All
pay
right.
attention, then if you pay attention to the nudges and make changes, then you don't need. So there is a less dramatic way. So that is shift. Love it.
All right. Hustling, working hard to bring in alignment. Shift or shit?
Shit. Completely.
Can you elaborate why shit? Why it's
Okay.
shit?
Well, I mean, hustle's rooted in fear, not alignment, right? When we're hustling, we're always trying to like force the outcome. We're trying to force it from mind and ego. We're chasing things like the worthiness, the safety, the validation, right? Whereas alignment is all about responding to energy. It's not pushing, it's just being in flow. So it's about really being guided instead of, again, driven. So no, hustle, working hard is a big, big no.
Yes.
All right. And Lindsay, once you're spiritually aligned, does life get easier? Shift or shit?
Shift, yes. Definitely.
Can you elaborate
Yes.
on that a little bit?
So alignment, I tell people all the time, alignment, it's this flow. So within that, it's ease. So I mean, I think that's really simple. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Canceling plans because your nervous system said nope.
Shift. Absolutely 100% shift.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Goes
Totally
back to
believe that.
listening to those intuitive nudges, right?
That's exactly.
also-
When you're so deeply attuned to your own energy, your nervous system will actually become your first intuitive, like, nudge messenger.
And that's something, like I is connecting with the body. We've always, the program is to look outside to get the right answer, be a good human. But when you connect with your own body being and your heart, you get the answers instantly. So yeah, pretty interesting.
And
All right, Sharon.
my last question, Lindsay, being spiritual means that you're calm all the time. Shift or shit?
Shit, because let's be real again, spirituality doesn't mean that you're free from the human experience. Our soul chose to come here and experience being human. With being human comes all the things. So there are going to be times where you are not calm. Like, for instance, about before coming on something like this, maybe you're nervous, right? So, yeah, it's a shit.
Awesome, Lindsay. Awesome. Okay. What is one tool that you can share with our audience today that would bring forth a shift into their life? What is one piece of advice you could give them?
I think it's going to go along with something that I kind of touched on, and that's looking for those little bits, the little glimmers within their day, just a small thing that brings them joy, the thing that like kind of lights their soul up. And it can be something so simple. Sometimes we're often looking for big things, but it could be the most simplest thing, like just having 5 minutes to sit and enjoy, your coffee or your tea in the morning in peace and quiet. Or it could be catching the beautiful sunrise, or you're driving home and you see the sunset and you look over and you think the sky is gorgeous. Like, it's those little things, but we're so busy and we're rushing through life and time's flying by that we forget to actually enjoy the little moments. And the more we enjoy the little moments, the more that those expand out into all aspects of our life.
Yeah.
Agreed. Very beautifully put. And you know what? It's such simple advice that everybody can relate to. And it's just tuning in, like you say, to those little moments that bring you joy. And having shown
Yeah.
gratitude and appreciation for those really expands the things that come into your awareness that you can have gratitude and appreciation for. So yeah, beautiful.
I love that, guys.
Mhm.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, Lindsay, if our audience would like to get a hold of you, what is one way that they can get a hold of you to book a call and see how you can help them shift something in their life?
Well, I mean, the easiest would probably be my website, because you can kind of get to everything from there. And my website is lindsaygrace.ca, and spelled like my name. Just make sure it's the .ca, because I'm actually Canadian. The next best thing would probably be, I know, right? Would be some social media. So, like, for instance, Instagram, I'm at the Lindsay Grace, same thing spelled like my name. And so that would probably also be another great way. Facebook, she's Lindsay Grace, if somebody wanted to connect with me there. But again, if you go to my website, you will get all of the, options of how to reach me on social media are also available there.
Amazing.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, Lindsay, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your wisdom and your warmth. And I can just feel your energy through the Zoom, and it's just so beautiful. And thank you. Thank you so much for coming and brightening our day today.
Thank you to both of you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a wonderful day.
Wow, Sharon. That was fun. That wasn't, I'm still trying to wrap my head around a damn, table
Yes.
falling off and hit me in the back of the head. Yeah.
And Lindsay
about
didn't dwell on it, but she really was debilitated for years because of that. So it made it impossible for her to live her life. She has come so far in the last like 5 years. It's amazing that she's walking, talking, running a new business, helping other women overcome their challenges. And she's amazing story about what you can endure and overcome. Yeah, it's pretty
Yes.
amazing.
What a
Yeah.
powerhouse. Well,
Yes.
Sharon, who do we have on our show next week?
Okay, next week we're welcoming the body matrix expert, Ashley Pfeiffer. She's diving into what your body's really trying to tell you when it throws a tantrum, when it gives you a migraine, when you have muscle aches. There's messages behind all of the body's signals, because those are signals from your body. So she dives deep into that.
Yes. I mean, be sure not to miss this episode. It's the mind, body, and soul all getting synced together. It's going to be a lot of fun, Sharon.
Yeah, it's going to be another great show. And
Yes.
if you enjoyed today's episode, share it with your favorite shift baller. Tag us and drop your own. We want to hear your holy shift balls moments. We want those in the comments. That would be great.
Yes, we'll have a new episode every Thursday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, and we look forward to seeing you next Thursday. And remember, the shift just got real. See you next time on the Holy Shift Ball Podcast.
Have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye.